audience.
How do we solve the obesity problem in the United States? Do we have any good answers to healthcare reform? My name is Williams Graham from Charleston, South Carolina, and one good answer is a fat tax, otherwise known as the Twinkie tax. The tax on fatty foods would help with these problems. A fat tax would work to help curb healthcare and help curb obesity. So what is a fat tax and how does it work? There are several types of fat tax methods that exist. Some tax fatty foods that have a certain amount of fat in them, while others tax foods according to how much fat they have. Dr. Kelly Brownell, a psychology professor at Yale University, was the pioneer of the fat tax. He wrote an article in New York Times in 1994 suggesting two different proposals. His first proposal was to have a 7 to 10% tax on unhealthy foods, and the other was to have a small tax on fatty foods where the proceeds could be used for funding healthy and responsible eating. Also, a fat tax is not that much different from a cigarette or liquor tax. Fatty foods, in particular fast food, should be a treat like liquor, not an every other day or even once a week occurrence. In the movie Super Size Me, a nutritionist said that you should only eat junk food once a month, if at all. So why not tax fatty foods? We tax cigarettes and liquor, and those two things affect our health almost as bad as fatty foods. So why do people eat so much fast food? One reason: convenience. If a fat tax were put on fast food, causing the price of a Big Mac value meal to go from approximately $6 to $6.60, what's the big deal? Pay the extra 60 cents for a convenience fee. People are going to complain. Well, I always have people that complain about being taxed. But if someone wants a Big Mac value meal that much, they should have to pay the extra 60 cents for that convenience fee. This is the same thing as the liquor, or very similar to the liquor and the cigarette tax. If people want to drink or smoke, they pay a convenience fee in order to enjoy those things. One of the most recent and well-publicized examples of this fat tax is in New York State. They debated over whether to tax sugared beverages at 18% to cut consumption. At present, 40 states impose a relatively modest tax on sugared beverages and snack foods. So, whatever methods are used to tax fatty foods, more money is there for the government to spend on things like healthcare reform. Healthcare reform is one of the biggest topics in the United States right now. And not only will a tax on fatty foods raise money to promote healthy and responsible eating, it'll also raise money for healthcare reform. Depending on how the tax method is set up, many experts estimate that at a 10% tax on fattening food, it could raise up to $530 billion over 10 years. Now, over that 10 years, that would be more than half the estimated cost of healthcare reform. So not only would a fat tax help with healthcare reform, it would also curb one of the biggest health issues in the United States today. Obesity is one of the biggest health problems Americans have. According to CNNmoney.com, more than 25% of the increase in medical costs between 1987 and 2001 is directly related to obesity health issues such as hypertension and diabetes. And today, 20% of American children are obese. That's up 16% than just a decade ago. And the authors of Urban Institute say that aggressive policy remedies like those used with tobacco deserve serious consideration in view of the terrible and rising toll that obesity has taken on the United States. A fat tax would be the beginning of a solution to the obesity problem in the United States today. So, as you can see, a fat tax would benefit the United States as a whole. It would work to curb obesity. It would also help with healthcare reform. Obesity is a problem that will not go away for the United States unless something drastic is done, and a fat tax is the right solution.